Welcome to Fee 304, Study Session 1. The Nature of Science and Pseudoscience. Introduction. In this study session, we will learn about the nature of science. We will also discuss the differences between science and pseudoscience. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to define and use correctly the term science. Differentiate between science and pseudoscience. Meaning of science. Science as a discipline includes every aspect of human knowledge which has an empirical, observatory, experiential, and experimental methodology. Science as a knowledge paradigm has a scope which envelopes such subjects as physics, chemistry, microbiology, zoology, botany. Science is the intellectual, systematic body of knowledge and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Given the achievement and progress of the natural sciences, the status of the word science is now like a stamp of approval or guarantee of quality to which other disciplines, practices, and even advertising agents appeal in order to gain recognition, deceive naive people, or sell products. Some practices that have been described as scientific include acupuncture, the belief that normal energy balance can be restored to relieve pain and cure other disorders in a person through inserting needles into different parts of the body. Astrology, the belief that celestial bodies such as the sun, moon, stars, and planets determine our characters at the time of our birth. Christology, the belief that crystals contain magical healing powers. Phenology, the belief that one's character and mental capability are determined by the structure of one's core. Among several others, are these beliefs scientific? It would be foolish to completely reject these practices as unscientific if it can be shown that they are efficacious in alienating people's pain. That is, if several people claim to receive relief from acupuncture, it would be rational from a pragmatic point of view to accept acupuncture as a form of medicine, even if we cannot understand how or why it works. The implication here is that keeping an open mind towards some of these beliefs help us to determine whether truth is contained in them or not. That said, if some of these beliefs truly work, then it will be rational to find out why. In doing this, there will be need to formulate hypotheses and conduct controlled experiments to test them. Are these people willing to subject their beliefs to scientific tests? Only a few are willing. Others merely state that their beliefs are scientific. Differences between science and pseudoscience. Since claiming that a belief is scientific without experiment does not mean that it is truly scientific, what criteria must we adopt to differentiate genuine science from fake or pseudoscience? The first is that observation is key to scientific progress. Meticulous observations lead to a formulation of hypotheses. The history of science illustrates this. Galileo's ability to confirm Copernicus' statement that Venus varies in size was made possible by telescope. This means that technology can broaden our powers of observation and enable us to experiment on new ideas. Another point is that reflective imagination and ability to think properly play vital roles in developing new scientific ideas. This is clear in the history of science, where scientists have used their imagination to discover new scientific ideas. Mathematics is also important in the development of scientific ideas. Science is also counterintuitive in nature, and that they go against common sense. Despite the fact that we now take the earth to be rotating, when you think about it, it is difficult to believe that the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. A discipline that does not claim to be scientific cannot be described as pseudoscience. For instance, since literary criticism does not claim scientificity, it cannot be described as a pseudoscience. And as a way of deducing the sense in a text, it is valid in its own right. The difference between pseudoscience and science is that pseudoscience claims to be scientific, but lacks the essence of science, or to put it in another way. What distinguishes a pseudoscience is that it claims the status of science while lacking its substance. ITQ. Arabic and Islamic studies is an academic discipline being studied in the university, but does not claim to be a science. Should it then be termed as a pseudoscience? Why not, if not? ITA. No. Arabic and Islamic studies should not be termed as a pseudoscience. This is because it never claimed to be scientific in the first instance, and also because it lacks the essence of science. One of the major differences between science and pseudoscience is that scientific hypotheses are testable. Pseudoscientific hypotheses protect themselves from being testable because of their 1. Vagueness, and 2. Ad hoc exceptions. 1. It is unfeasible to verify or falsify a statement that is very vague. The claim that quartz crystals can restore the balance and energy of your life is vague and meaningless. And for it to be turned into a genuine scientific claim, it will require some form of measurable criteria to determine the meaning of words as balance and energy. 2. When ad hoc exceptions are constantly made in relation to a hypothesis, such hypothesis cannot be scientifically tested. For instance, if, because you present a counterexample of a black swan, someone changed the original statement that all swans are white into all swans are white except that mutation, then you will discover that you are unable to test such hypothesis. A genuine scientific hypothesis is general in nature, in that it does not make ad hoc exceptions in the face of counter examples. Therefore, it follows that a hypothesis is scientifically genuine if it is testable, clear in predictions, and avoid ad hoc exceptions. Thus, we can say that statements as unlike magnet poles attract each other, acid turns litmus paper red, are scientifically testable and genuine, while statements as it always rains on Tuesdays, strong men don't cry, you may or may not win the lottery in 2012, and so on, are not. Study session summary. In this study session, you learned that science is a paradigm of knowledge, and as a paradigm of knowledge, science is empirical, observatory, experiential, and experimental in methodology. We explained that scientific disciplines are characterized by the principle of testifiability, verifiability, falsifiability, clarity in prediction, and generality in scope. We have come to the end of study session 1. Thanks for listening.